Howdy how. So welcome to episode 1 of Let's Build a Website from Scratch. So a quick intro of what we're going to do. Now you don't see much material out there of how to start from almost nothing and then deliver an entire website at the end of it. A lot of the time sort of tutorials are focused on one particular thing or a particular technology. It's not very often you have like a linear process of like how to go from scratch. Now, I've been doing this sort of 12 years now, nearly. I think 12 years. As you can imagine, I've built quite a lot of websites. So what I'm going to do is we're going to literally start from day 1 here of the process. Now, this is my website. It's distinctly average. It's essentially what I did was I started with an Elementy starter kit that I made, which has now been archived. Hey Walden, hope you're good. And essentially what I did was to dog food it at the time. Was I thought, okay, I'll fork it for myself again, and then I'll make this my personal site. And I wonder if let's just have a quick look just while we're here at the web archive. Where's the Wayback Machine? There we go. I wonder if we can find my old site. It'll be on the other domain, Handybell Design. Oh no, unless it's on the other old domain. Chilljaw.io. 2016, what did we look like here? I used to have a much more creative personal site. So look, there's like quite 90s themed. Hey Juan, how you doing? So let's see. Oh no, that's a reasonably old one. That's quite a nice site. Was it 2017 then? Should we do the end of 2017? What that one looks like? Green indicates a redirect. Oh no, it's still that one. Unless it was 2018. There's quite a lot of snapshots in 2018. Let's go right at the end of 2018. Let's see. Green is redirecting it. Sorry, was it? Oh no, green, no, blue. Here we go. Is it going to work? Yeah. Now this is the sort of thing I want to be playing with now. So the context is of this project is God, that's an old one. DevPal. Sorry, that was a. God, I do miss this site. Anyway, so I want to go back to this sort of world because the current site is great as a blog, but I don't really write much on this site anymore because obviously I've got Piccadilly. I'm always going to favour publishing content on there. The only stuff I'm going to publish on my site really now is sort of news, like for example, like Front End Challenges Club moved to Piccadilly. And what I started doing at the start of this year, before coronavirus sort of completely and utterly ruined all my morale at the start of the year, was started writing more thoughtful blog posts. So there's a good one. There's like honesty is the best policy. This was in response to Gatsby. Doing the schoolboy error of comparing a JavaScript bundle to the JavaScript bundle to a big image, which is just totally not how it works. Like, to give you context, like big image is it's slow on the network, but then it comes down and it's done. Whereas a big bundle of JavaScript is slow on the network, it takes ages to come down, lands on your machine. The browser then has to decompress it. It's gzipped or brother, then it has to then parse all that JavaScript, then it has to execute all that JavaScript, very likely locking up the main thread. So there's just all sorts of consequences of JavaScript versus an image, and that was very much forgotten. But you know what? It is what it is. And then there's just been a few other posts. So in short, there's not going to be much blogging going on the site. But what I do want the site to be is a sort of cred piece, a credibility piece. I've been doing this a long time. I make quite a lot of things. I'm planning on making more things, especially next year, in terms of like products and stuff. So what I'd quite like is to go back to where I can have a sort of a portfolio of sorts. I mean, look at that button hover effect. God, I really did care when I built this one. So yeah, let's go from there. What was the last first month as a freelancer? Yeah, my business is going on for 2 years old now, this limited company. So where do we start? What we're going to do is I'm going to fire up my iPad. Has it stopped streaming now? Oh yeah. Hold on a sec. And this Mac Mini. Hopefully now iPad should pop up in a second. Here it is. And then what I'll do is I'll just give that a little resize. Okay, looking OBS, looking good. Okay, so now you can see what I see. What I've got is I use Notes as I've got the badge of shame for this trial. Called Air Server. Seems a pretty cool app. And essentially, so this is the start of the process for me with the website. The first thing I do is I'm in the bullet journal. There's a concept in bullet journaling called rapid login, and this is what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to start rapidly logging what I want the site to do, what I want the site's aims to be, how I want it to work in the future. So the first point I'll make is that as I'll make a note and I'll say current. So excuse my horrific handwriting. Current site is only useful as a blog. I want my personal site to be a lot more creative, and a better cred piece. Cool. So then, instead of like going into a full sort of critique, you might have watched a stream we did recently, because I'm in the process of doing Piccalilli, which is going to be a long-term project. The more I think about it, and essentially what I'm doing is I'm redesigning Piccalilli before I move on to the next course, which is going to be CSS from scratch. And the reason for that is because Piccalilli doesn't really do the job anymore that it needs to do. The site design, it was very rushed, which is similar to this, but this is only my personal site, and I don't mean to sort of downgrade the importance of a personal site. What I'm saying is that because it's just me working on it, it's only my content that's going to be on there. The sort of stake's quite low, and because I can modify it and tweak it whenever I feel like it. But what I can do is I can look at it as it is now and say, right, what about it do I not like? What about it do I like? So one thing I like about the site is this sort of monochrome, and it's something I'm actually going to try and maintain. So I want to have creativity like this old one, but I'd quite like to achieve that with the monochrome look and feel. Greetings, how are you doing, Eddie Blue? Is that right? So I'll make a note of that as well. So I'll say try to maintain monochrome. So colors. There's a Hayden who I did every layout with. He did a great talk last year about like design with monochrome being such a difficult process, but being like a real sort of satisfying process. And in fact, I think that is why I actually made this black and white, because when we built every layout together, like I was really struggling with the black and white UI. Like I really wanted to add some spot coloring into it, but so glad we kept it black and white as is. So I'm tempted to do that as well. There's another reason why I want to do that is because A, it's a bit different, it's a bit unique. You don't see many black and white sites out there. And B, I want to have the tiniest possible footprint. Sorry to say it, folks, but I'm going for the top of the 11T performance leaderboard. I'm actually going to really focus on that. So big focus on the 11T leaderboard. There was a time where the Piccadilly site was quite high up, but it doesn't do as well anymore. So we're going 11T dev. View all 428 sites. There it is. So the top at the moment is the Ali project, which is a good site. But the Core Web Vitals, it's really, really fast. So is that SI? Is that speed indexed? 1.33 seconds. That's actually quite slow, I think. But everything else is super quick. So that's the target. So I'm going to chase down these sort of numbers with it. Now I could chase it down with a very, very, very simple UI, but I actually want to have a really creative site that also links like that, because this one is a beautiful design. You know, it's a really well designed website. It's got lots of media on it, so I also want to make sure I have lots of media on mine. It's good stuff. So that's the name. So then this is like a good process. So as you start thinking about what your goals are going to be and what the aims are going to be, you can start to formulate what you're going to start doing with the design as well. So I know now that I've got a big focus on hitting the top of the leaderboard, but then I also want to have a super creative UI, trying to create the tiniest possible footprint. Now that makes these two intrinsically linked. Oh, that's a big one, isn't it? Just reduce the size of that. So that means these two are intrinsically linked with each other. They're gonna work hand in hand with each other to happen. Now the another goal of the website that I want to just make a job of is that it acts as a useful signpost. Signpost to the work I do, not what, but you know what, I'm going to leave that there. Work idea I do. At the moment it's not very useful. It's got this sort of half-assed intro, and it just says teach at Piccadilly Front End Challenges Club. Now Front End Challenges Club doesn't. Oh, thanks for subscribing, Will. Is it Will Dante? That's really kind of you. Thank you. Yeah. So what I was saying is basically like it's out there and it's not very useful. You know, it's like a Twitter bio. It's totally out there. It's what I'm doing on there as well. So it needs to communicate what I do really effectively and really quickly. So I think I need a much sharper intro. There's a site that I really like. Rob. In fact, tell you what, really, before the Whimsical Web, Max, I spelled your name wrong, Max, sorry. Where's your link to your whimsical site? Can anyone remember what it was? Let's see if he's got any link. He's got a link to it somewhere. Unless it was on here. The Whimsical Website Club, there it is. Whimsical Club, loads of cool sites in here. Just trying to find the one I'm talking about. Here's Rob. Here's Rob's Digital. Just want to make sure I get it right. Now, this one thing I really like about Rob's site. Thanks, because you generously learn a lot. A couple of days. Oh, thank you. Cheers. Appreciate it. Chris G, yeah, I'm writing on an iPad and I'm broadcasting the iPad to the with Air 7. I think you can do it natively with Mac Catalina, but it's just not working at all, and I just could not be bothered chasing it down today. So one thing I really like about Rob's site is that it's just beautiful. You know, it's a really nice site. This illustration is just ridiculous and smooth, beautifully done. Now, what I really like about it is that you land on Rob's site, there's zero distraction. You got a lovely headline, and then it says exactly what he does. I'm an independent creative developer from Abergavenny, South Wales. Now, the reason why I really like this is because we went through this with, I used to work at a place called No Divide. What was it? Sorry, my keyboard's right over here today. Studio.com. Was it No Divide Studio? I can't remember. I should know my old company's site, shouldn't I? Unless it's gone now. Oh no. Let's just have a quick look. I mean, it did go out of business. I think Twitter. No Divide. Oh, it was NoDivideStudio.com. Oh well, it's gone now. But basically, the focus on that site was that we wanted to make sure that our core message was exactly what we did. As soon as I landed on the page, there's no sort of messing around. So I want to do that as well. So I want to get back to that now. As you might have noticed, there's a theme with every one of these sort of recent designs. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Amanda. Hello, Amanda. So we're going to keep that theme going. It's been a bit of a shtick. So let's. The only problem with this Air server thing is it might be the iPad actually. It just keeps stopping. You gonna connect? There we go. I think it's because it keeps locking. There we go. Okay. So keep the hello, I'm Andy theme. A super focused intro / hero of you into old school marketing unit that says exactly what I do. Okay, so you've come here to watch how to build a site. So let's start getting on it. So we've got some notes down. We've started thinking about what we're doing, right? So where do we go next from here? What I do at this point is I'll stay in an app like Notes or something like Procreate, and I'll just start sketching ideas out. So let's just go with Procreate. A lot of people make stunning things in Procreate, but as you can see on my landing page, it's a mixture of me making ridiculous cartoons of sorts, but the majority of things is me just sketching ideas out. So a good example of that is this one. This is when I've been working I was thinking about doing some sort of planner app, bullet journal style thing. So the first thing I did before I started thinking about technology, started thinking about anything, was just, how's it going to work? What's it going to look like? What's it going to do? How are things going to interact? And it looks terrible. It doesn't look nice, and it doesn't need to look nice, because we progress onto a higher fidelity wireframe later on in the process. But for now, we just want to get ideas out. If you're getting into design, I can't highlight how important sketching is. More if I tried. Can I stretch this out? It's pretty good. It's really useful for just getting ideas out of your head. And Procreate is brilliant for doing that as well. I don't know if you've noticed, I'm clicking on the plus button on my iPad on the screen. I'm wondering why it's not working. So let's just create a new canvas. Now what I actually should do is, I've already got a big canvas template that I use for wireframing. So it's a big long one. This is a bit of a struggle with. Yeah. So Chris, when you jump straight into a design tool, you're sort of thinking about less important things, I think, at the time. You're thinking about color, shape. You're tweaking how, okay, do I want border radius? Do I want this? How do I want the type to be set? Blah blah blah. All these things. Whereas the one of the most important parts of design is you've got to think about, what is it that I'm doing? How's it going to work? And you just got to get these ideas out of your head. When you're doing logos, especially, so let's say, like, for instance, I've always had this. I didn't have it on this site actually. Oh, I did. Yeah, down here. This is a 10-minute logo. I did that in Illustrator, just straight in. But when I did the Piccalilli logo, for example, I went through a big process of sort of sketching it, thinking about it. In fact, I think I might have a post on it on here somewhere. Might have been last year. Let's have a look. Good God, where has it gone? Piccalilli, making the new Piccalilli logo. There you go. That was the old one. It's crap. And then I started sketching this idea out. I was like, oh, it's maybe a bell pepper of some sort, because that's like one of the biggest things, like most important ingredients in Piccalilli. And then I went through this concepting stage. So I started in a notepad with a pencil. I tend to just go straight into sort of the iPad now. And then I just started going through. You can see how it's just evolving. This is what I was on about, so the higher fidelity wireframe. So that's when I started putting it into Illustrator, and then eventually ended up with this at the end. And this is the same process with designing a UI as well. It's starting low fidelity, thinking, getting fast thoughts out of your head, scribbling things out, rubbing things out, and just really sort of getting the ideas out of your head. And then when you think you're in a better position with this, then you can start saying, right, okay, well, let's move it into a high fidelity tool. So at that point, we'll probably maybe start looking into Figma maybe, or Sketch or something like that. Maybe even go into a tool I like called Whimsical. But I do like Figma's prototyping tools. Then we move into that process and we start getting to the point. And what I do with design then is I say, well, when I get to the point where I'm bored of what I'm doing, that's when I need to move into HTML and CSS. Because at that point, I think I've got all the sort of look and feel ideas have clearly all dried up. So what I need to do is then refine them. And the best way to refine a web design is to design in the medium that you're delivering, which is HTML, CSS. That does bring up the whole should designers code argument. All I'll say is it's bloody useful being able to code and design. So anyway, so let's just pick let's just go for a dark color. Why not working? Let's just go there. And then on this one, yeah, we'll stick with grey on there. So I tend to just stick with two colors, like a shading color for giving some sort of contrast, and then a black for drawing the outlines. So the first thing that I didn't like about, what I don't like about my site, is I've just sort of front loaded the the header, which is crap. So I've got his project section, which is crap. I did manage to put my course on there. That's good. But there's no focus in the navigation. Now, what I'm tempted to do is actually do something similar to what Rob's done and create a nice menu like this. 2 reasons for that. It keeps everything focused. That's interesting. Yeah, in agency. So I've had this in agency land in the past as well. So in previous roles or in projects, I'd have like a static sign-off process. So you'd hand over PSDs or whatever to the client, and that's fine. It works fine. It does the job. It doesn't work so well with modern web, I don't think. I think that worked well when we did everything desktop only. Whereas now we tend to do things with responsive design, so multiple viewports. So like, and you'll see this as part of this process as well while I'm designing. I'll design the look and feel in the best possible case, which is desktop. But then what we'll do is when we move into the HTML, CSS part, especially CSS, is we won't look at the desktop size for ages. We'll just be working at mobile for as long as possible, and then progressively enhancing that mobile view into the desktop view as well. So I like to look at things like that as well. That's almost impossible to do in a sort of traditional thought. So it's not a process you can just switch to overnight, especially in a traditional agency. But it is useful. There's a good middle ground. There's a tool called Webflow, which is like a design tool that outputs a proper site in inverted commas. That could be a good middle ground to get signed off. I would never personally, I don't think I would put a Webflow site into production for a client, but I would certainly sort of design high fidelity prototypes in a sense with that for sure, because you can like work responsively. Oops. Okay, so that brush is ridiculous. I've got a nice inking brush, technical pen that I use for this. So we know for a fact that we're going to keep this crap logo of mine. I'm not going to change that. It's sort of stuck in me now. And look how awful this sketch is. I am a terrible drawer. I've been designing for years, but I cannot draw for the life of me. And you don't have to be able to draw to design. Design's not just about making things look nice. So then what we'll do is we'll just universal symbol for a burger menu. Yeah, so it's related to Chris's comment there about Webflow being a bit like a Wix, or being seen as a Wix platform. It is quite Wixy, but I think it's a sort of level up from Wix. I think Wix is sort of your bottom feeding. Webflow is sort of like helping designers produce end products for web clients, I think. And then above that is like actually coding HTML, CSS. Maybe in the middle of that, there's a sort of Tailwind bootstrap layer that goes with that. So one thing I like to do is cool layouts. So if you've done the Eleventy course, you built this site, and it's just got a nice offset CSS grid, and I like this look and feel. This is for an agency site that we built this for, and this is using that same logic of. It tells you exactly what they do immediately. So digital marketing ad bread, you got that sort of catchy, pun-driven sort of strapline about what they are, digital marketing agency, and then it's let us help you create the perfect campaign with our multifaceted team of talented creatives. Immediate call to action, get on that portfolio. Now I want to sort of follow that same thing with my site as well. So what you could do straight away is you could say, right, well, hello, I'm Andy, so we're going to keep that shtick. And then, instead of actually writing the copy, what I'll do is I'll just say, brief intro to what I do. And And then what I'll do is I'll just add another layer. Are you going to let me move you? Yeah, there you go. And I'll move it underneath that layer. And what I'll do is I'll just change it to the grey one. And I think what I might do is put a picture of myself. So it's just like a weird offset layout. The universal picture in a wireframe, the old cross in there. And then what I want to do is straight away I just want to see call to action, see projects. And then that's it. So it's just a nice focused hero unit. And you'd probably want to make that sort of some sort of contrasting color as well. So we'll add another layer for backgrounds. And then maybe we'll just drop that tone a little bit. Let's get a brush out. Sorry, it sounds like one of my children's having a meltdown downstairs. And we'll just sort of give that a bit of a shade out. There we go. Lovely job. Right, so oops, 2 fingers to scroll. So then we just remove that from our yours is refusing to take a nap. Oh God, I know that all too well. That's a Godspeed to you there, Chris. That's not a fun phase whatsoever. I used to, like, where I used to live, I reckon I knew that town better than any taxi driver knows that town, because I used to be head of walk-in nap duty for that kid and our first kid. And Jesus, honestly, I reckon those times where I do like 9.5, 10-mile walks just to get him off to sleep for a while. Question, yeah, go for it. Half mellow one. Ask the question that you want to ask while I just move on to this bit here. Ooh, still in brush mode. Let's get that technical pen back out. Back on layer 1. Are you ready for this Sunday night when WD champion? Good grief. I don't know. Is that still a meme, the John Cena meme? Anyway, so we've done the hero, and then so what? The other thing I wanted to focus on the site is we want projects to take center stage. So go like a heading, projects, and then again I fancy some sort of interesting layout here. So I'm just going to sketch something out. So obviously we're going to want Big Lily to take center stage, right? But then we're going to want maybe like another project to go in here. Or maybe that takes it to GitHub or whatever. And then we'll try and sort of keep things interesting. So I'm not committing to a layout here, but that's a very doable layout with CSS Grid. Could have some overlap in there. And then in here you can sort of say, right, well, let's just stick there. So you just plot Piccalilli there. Now I'm not going to go into like how this is going to look. I'm just laying out what I think the site's what it's going to do. So then you could say like maybe GitHub or Twitter goes on here. Super secret product, and then I'm not going to tell you anything else about that. And then maybe I'll just actually like take course X, which at the moment would be learn Elementor from scratch, but it could be the new CSS course when it comes out, or buy my book in Mel B's thing from the old days. What are we saying? Let's just now if you've got an iPad and a pencil, Procreate is one of the best tools you can probably buy. Buy my book. Maybe I've got a book coming, who knows. Just got a mouse. You got a mouse coming, mine just died. Hey Todd, yeah, I'll just pop it in the post. It'll be with you in about a week. Uh, okay, so now the blog is going to take much less precedence now. So I'm going to drop another horizontal rule there, and I'll say like latest posts. And then I think I'm just going to keep the blog feed simple, like I've currently got it on my site. Just title, date, job done, see all posts. So title, date, title. Can you see why I do such a long canvas now? Date, title, date, and then see all call to action there. And then I think the last thing you do on the homepage is so you've got the what moving into next year as well. So sort of stipulate this earlier is much less. I just realised I was drawing on that and you couldn't even see less client stuff next year. At the moment, I'm probably about 50-50 client work and then Piccalilli related stuff. Now, I mentioned this on Twitter earlier, but I'm working on a sort of support system for Piccalilli as well, which I'm hoping will help reduce that percentage. And then there's obviously going to be like more courses coming as well next year, etc. Now, so what I'm actually going to think about doing at this point is still maintaining an availability panel, because I do still like to do the odd website for clients, like a small website project. It normally gives me some sort of tutorial idea when I do that. It keeps me fresh, keeps my skills fresh. When the less client work I do, I've noticed that the less projects lies in like less full projects I do, and I do find that certain skills fall at the wayside a bit. A good example is I've done literally no back end this year whatsoever. I did a bit at the start of the year, so I am rusty as you like, both with Node and sort of PHP stuff. And that's not the end of the world, you know, is what it is. I don't tend to focus on that stuff. But because client work I've been doing for the rest of the year has been purely design again, like literally static comps and front end stuff. So I do like to keep doing small projects. So we'll do that here. So it's availability. And in fact, no, it's going to have a more descriptive panel. So freelance oh god, I can't even spell. Consultant and developer. Let's just do that for now. Then you got blah 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 blah, and then a focused availability section. Availability, and then the availability hire me. Lovely job. You know, it's good to get the odd inquiry every now and then. And then finally, I think what I want to do is have like a more focused panel of links. So at the moment, you've got like writing projects, RSS, microblog, Twitter, CodeBank, GitHub, and then that's a duplication of it in the footer as well. A lot of stuff going on there. So what I'm thinking of doing is having like social, and just like that's just got Twitter. I suppose GitHub is, isn't it? GitHub, whatever. Don't really use anything else. Can you link to people's Discord, I suppose? And then maybe music, Apple Music profile. And then elsewhere on the web. On the web. And then you just got like link 1, link 2, and that could be like microblog, RSS, just generic links that go over there. That's the sort of thing I fancy doing for them. Somewhere to dump stuff basically. That shouldn't take too much prominence. So then now you're getting to the bottom of the site. So like zoom out, take a wider view, look at things. And I've just realised again I've not been showing you my screen. Not doing a very good job. So I don't call myself a front-end developer. Did I ever? I tend to just, I went through a phase of just calling myself a web designer for a while. I guess that's sort of what I do when I'm doing design and development. But yeah, it's an interesting distinction really. I guess I'm just a developer. I'm a designer that somehow managed to learn how to code as well. I started coding because I kept handing over PSDs to developers, and then they'd send me a link to it, and it'd be like, did you even look at the PSD? It'd be just like the snag lists would just be outrageous that I'd send back. So it got to the point where I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to do it myself. I'm just going to build it myself. And those who know me personally know that's the sort of wanker attitude I have. And I was just like, and it's been very useful to be able to code. Yeah, front-end developer, I don't really tend to, I think one of the reasons why I don't really say it much now is that I'm not like a React developer. And I think that's like when people say front-end developers, that's what people just presume you are. He's some sort of JS guy. Yeah, started as a designer. I used to do print, much more print before I did, before I started doing digital stuff. I remember when I first started doing digital, I used to hate it because I was just like, you can't even do anything in this medium. It's ridiculous. I'm just going to sketch this section in as well, give that a paint out. There we go. And then what we'll do is, yeah, just keep that there. Lovely. Right. I think we're looking in pretty good shape here. So you can see how quickly, when you're just sketching things, you can very, very quickly get ideas out of your head. That's probably what I have. I'm not a front-end developer, but I'm still that type of. I can see that it's a problem because like when you're freelance as well, like you are on like you want to sort of have as big a like mass appeal as possible as well to like potential clients. So it depends. If you're just doing contracting, so like contract development work, it's really useful to be sort of specialists. So you say like, hi, I'm Andy, and oh no, you're not distracting me. Like, it's useful to get this stuff talked about. This one, I wish I could. I can't. Sorry. Yeah, I'm glad you like it, but it does make me overly popular with certain communities. Should we say? The point I was making there though is that like if you're a contract developer, you just do development for companies. So you say, right, okay, I'm Andy and I'm a contract React developer. That's going to get you some hella sort of focused inquiries. People will just come to you to do freelance work, and that if you're just doing 6 month contracts or whatever, that's fine, is what it is. But if you're like more like me that is like client stuff, like freelance client stuff, if I was like, I'm a freelance React developer, that'd limit the net. It would probably mean I just end up doing contracting, which I don't like doing. I don't like having a job as such, like I don't want to just sit into someone else's company and just work their hours and work, their team schedule. I'm a freelance, I'm an independent. I like to work to my own schedule. So yeah, that's why I try and sort of make things as generic as possible, I guess. Consultant helps as well. Saying you're a consultant helps get that. Yeah. Anyway, so I suppose I'm just going to say whoa, that's a big old brush, wasn't it? What I'm going to say now is just yeah, foot goes here, it's just going to be generic, isn't it? It's just going to be copyright, some stuff on that. I can't sell, Chris. Don't know if that helps. I wrote a post about freelance stuff. Shall I post it in the chat, I suppose? Is it on here? Maybe that'll give you a bit of confidence. Oh, it's the last one I wrote on here. Yeah, there you go. Pop that in there. Yeah, it's when it comes to like clients, like I guess like if you do this sort of client communication right to start with, the process becomes it's less of a sales process and it's more of a how do I describe it? An informing process. So when a client like reaches out to me now, the first thing I do is ask them how much money they've got, because I want to know what the budget is before I do it then. And then the second process I tend to do with clients now, and I've actually done some projects in the past where this is all I've done for them, is create a brief. Literally just, they pay me to create them a brief. And that's like, I do like design research process, but with the client. So I'll interview them, I'll really sort of grill them to work out what they want, and what they think they want, and what the goals are. Because the client will come to you and say, I want a website that's got a hero image on it and it does it blah blah blah, it's got a carousel blah blah blah. It's bollocks. They think they want that. What I do is I take 25 steps back from that process and it's like, what do you want to achieve with this project? And then you can start to see what the value of their investment in you is as well to doing that. So there's a value pricing, it's called, the model which you can use. But yeah, when a client tells you that they want a carousel, they often don't want a carousel. They just have terrible communication problems internally. So it's a good sign of that. So I'm pretty happy with how this is starting to look so far. What are we on? We're on 47 minutes. I'm going to try and keep each one of these an hour. The whole thing about this build website from scratch is I'm going to do like an hour of work and to show you how far we can get each time with an hour of work. I might do bits of homework in between to sort of reduce the boredom on these streams. For instance, like setting up the directory for like the website. It's so boring, but to try and reduce that. But for now, we're just going to do an hour. So we're on 48 minutes, got 12 minutes. Let's start to think about this sort of burger menu section. So what I'll do is I'm just going to create a new layer, put it right at the top. I'm actually just going to name this one. Let's just cut that. Let's see if we can do it all with my hand. Burger menu. God, I just love that it's a new thing you can do on an iPad. You can just sort of sketch and it'll fucking turn it to real text for you. Even my awful handwriting. So I'm just going to fill the whole layer in. Plop. Like that. Just going to turn the opacity down a little bit for a sec. So I'm going to draw across just above it. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide that layer. Oh, cancel. Layer 1. Menu. Always have a label on your burger. So enable the layer again. Gives you the opportunity to do that. Add close. Lovely. So again, start to think about the afternoon, Spencer. So got the ideas here. So big focus on the other two. Okay, blah, blah, blah. First thing we did there is current site is useful as a blog. I want personal site to be a lot more creative and a better cred piece. So there's that. So we've sort of tackled that already. Much sharper intro, we've got that. Super focused hero unit, yeah. It acts as a useful signpost to the work I do. Right, so I think that's where this comes in. So we've got so the first thing is, I reckon, is some big links. Projects. I'm actually just going to do this as well. I'm just going to say courses, even though that's just going to take you to Piccadilly. It is a big fundamental part to what I do. I just remembered I'm sat here on Twitch or YouTube, and yeah, same machine to code and stream. I've always liked the idea of not sure my machine will handle it well. What Mac are you using? How well does it cope? So this is a Mac Mini. It's all right. Sound card, the graphics card's a bit dodgy, so you'll notice there's a bit of a delay between audio and me. It's something I'm trying to work on at the moment. In fact, while we're on the stream, I'll see if I can fix it here. Knock that down to 40. There we go. I'm just playing with the latency on the audio at the moment. I had to try and fix that, but it generally seems to do alright. I mean, this is a 4K display that it's pumping out, and then I've got a 1080p display that I sat here on the right that I keep looking at. That's where all your chat is and everything. Does the job. I was streaming off a MacBook Pro, which I've got, the 16-inch MacBook Pro, and it was just terrible. Do not recommend whatsoever. Great computer, but yeah, it was like having a jet engine sat on my desk while I was doing that. Okay, so projects, courses, blog, and then maybe just go straight onto Twitter, because like I do tend to spend a lot of time on there. It can be reasonably useful. And then what I'm thinking of doing is, I've done this for clients in the past, is like, so you got a bit of a divide going on here. And then I'm going to have like I want a featured content stream, essentially. And I'm thinking of powering this from somewhere else. It'll probably be an Eleventy site. Yeah, you can have a normal laptop and they just do the job. It depends I suppose it depends what you're doing. Getting a good mic's always useful. So yeah, so like featured content one. Now I've got to put a bit of thought into this, because I don't know how useful this is going to be on mobile or smaller viewports, but you know, we'll get to that in later streams. Cool, and then you sort of can just toggle that. Sweet. Now there's this project section here. Now I'm thinking, just as we get to the end, like this might there's a project feed, and then maybe we cancel. We add a second action on here. Start again. Can I even write? View all. Okay, and then I guess that's where we'll go to on the next stream. It's a good breaking off point here is we'll start looking at how the projects will go. I'll have a bit of a think about what projects I'll actually feature on there, instead of just making it up as I go along. You can tell I can't remember what projects I've even worked on. And then I'm tempted to change that to potentially be projects/portfolio. We'll see. Lots of thinking to do on that, but I guess we're in a pretty good position on this first episode. We've had a look around at where I'm at currently, where I want to go back to, so like this sort of creative look at things. If you want to have a look at that version of the site, I guess I should just plonk that in the chat here. I was really happy with this site. I mean, a lot of stuff doesn't exist anymore, like DevPal doesn't exist anymore. My browser is going to be potentially getting discontinued because the thingies aren't very useful anymore, the user agent strings. But yeah, and then so we looked at like this end, just look at the state of this site, it's terrible. Leadiness stuff on there, and then where we're currently at, I was looking at sites I liked, especially like Rob's. Enough people rip Rob's site off though, so I'm not going to do that. the issue 33 site, which is what you build if you do the 11th course. And so that's sort of angle we're looking at. Big important part is making notes, lots of notes. And then finally, low fidelity sketching, looking all right. Certainly helped get some ideas out of my head. And then potentially might do this tomorrow as well, but it's quite possibly going to be next week now when I do the next stream. But we've got stuff to keep working on now. So then you come back with it with fresh eyes, and it's like, right, okay, I don't like how this bit's done. So you just create a new Procreate sketch. You just bin this one off, and then you start again, and you start sketching, and then working really fast until you get to a point where you think, right, let's start making some real UI, and then we'll crack up on Figma at that point. So hopefully this has been pretty useful. Let me know what you think on Twitter and stuff. But yeah, nice one everyone. Take it easy, and there'll be a recording of this on Twitter.